one, it couldn't have been a better timing for me to do what I did because I switched firms right at the very beginning of this process. So, I mean, it was an opportunity for me to get out there in front of a lot of people very, very quickly and get our story out there. And, you know, going from a firm that was very well known to a firm that's not as well known, it was a huge benefit. Plus, actually having a process for doing that, following up, and everything else. So I can't say how much I enjoyed the process completely.
Fantastic. So, if you don't mind, when you talk about the quality of the meetings, can you just talk a little bit again? Because I'm going to play this or provide advisors with the ability to listen. Because again, one of the things that I hear all the time is that they're not really sure that we can connect them with CPAs and attorneys that are genuinely interested in meeting. Can you just talk about that for a minute or two?
Absolutely. I mean, it was most of the people that I met in this process were, one, very high-end, both estate planning attorneys, CPAs, and a lot of these people don't do a lot of networking. Some of them were just not real good at it, and others, it's just they're very busy and they don't have time to do that. So this was really the only opportunity to get in the door and meet with some of these very, very high-end, like I said, CPAs and attorneys, especially. So I just feel like that and having a game plan going into it, I think, made this a wonderful process.
Awesome. You know, if you don't mind, let's just spend a minute on that. So, how long have you been in practice? And if you don't mind, and you don't have to give specifics, but can you just talk about? You know, I always talk about how I help people initiate, nurture, and maximize those relationships. Can you just talk about that system for a second?
Sure. So I've been in the business for 20 years. Been with 3 very large firms and now a smaller regional money manager. And really my primary responsibility with this firm is to get out and meet centers of influence and both meet and nurture relationships with centers of influence. So, you know, the process initially being, all right, and then having a game plan also, and that was part of what I learned through this process of, all right, what do you do next? And having a process that I follow now that both with CPAs and attorneys that I developed, I now have a process that I follow to continue to build those relationships.
Awesome. Love that. And I think to this whole point, most financial advisors, like 99%, just don't have a step-by-step process that they are successful with to initiate, nurture, and maximize. So again, I appreciate you bringing that up. All right, next thing, if you don't mind, but any potential referrals on the hook or in the door yet?
Oh, I have several. I managed to, out of this process, work with one of the larger CPA firms in Texas and built a really strong relationship with one of the people that I hadn't come across at Chamber of Commerce meetings, but now since we've had our initial meeting, we've actually built a really good friendship as part of this, and they basically work with our target clientele, and just a phenomenal relationship that started as a result of this.
Fantastic, and of course, I love to hear that.
And really, yeah, like I said, and really several, I would say, you know, most of these relationships are just in the last 3 or 4 months, and it's, of course, busy season for CPAs.
Right.
But there's a certain group of them that I know from those meetings. I would say there's probably 10 of them that I know will be referring business as long as I stay in front of them.
Great. And, you know, if there was a way to quantify that, because, you know, again, we're talking to other financial advisors here who are always like, great, what's it going to make me? what can I expect? And so if you don't know specifics, that's okay. But if you were to put a number on X number of $1 million per year that you think this could be worth to you, any thoughts about that so far or not yet?
I mean, I would guess, just from the relationships that I've already developed, probably close to $20 million a year that this will develop. Part of my skill set works with larger clients, and that would be my guess easily would be about $20 million in business that this is going to create. Just from what I've talked to with a lot of these folks. And, of course, one of them could refer a huge one to me, and quite frankly, there's a possibility of that. But I think just on a consistent basis, I think initially out of that group, easily 10 will be referring business to me, and it doesn't take long with the size of clients we work with to rack that up.
That's great. I love that. Thank you. I appreciate you sharing that. Well, let me ask you, is there anything that I didn't ask you that you would have wanted me to ask you or want to say to any of the other advisors listening about our service?
What I would say is initially I was very skeptical about the process. I took a leap of faith. The thing that I will say that I loved about the process was, one, just the training that I had received on how to do this and how to develop relationships alone was worth what I paid. But certainly the relationships that the doors got open to were a huge, part of my business plan going forward. My initial 90 days with my new firm, my boss was blown away with the amount of connections that I was able to make in that short of a time period, and everything else. I've just been absolutely blown away with just the customer service level and everything else. So,
well, thank you. Well, listen, Jeff, I want to, again, thank you for the time and appreciate your willingness to share. And I'm looking forward to another update about 3 to 6 months from now. We can see if we can get that 20 to 40 million.
I like it.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
Thanks, Dr. Lynn.